Hi, Steve.
Well, hey, Jim. Um, well, you look like a little upset about something,
I think that it's time that you and I start a revolution.
huh? Politics? Our broadcast? Us?
Nope, nope.
Politics? What?
I'm thinking a revolution against revolutions, specifically 45 of them per minute.
Oh. Hello and welcome to Two Guys Talking About Records, that vinyl community podcast where two guys just sit and yak about records for 1 whole hour. Not two, not 45 minutes. We're doing that 1 hour, 33 RPM. That's how we do our show. And I'm Steve, a record collector.
And my name's Jim, and I own a record store. And Steve, you know what? If we record our podcast at 45 RPM, we can probably cut the content in half and then get more. I don't know. We don't get paid for this. So whatever. We'll get more money for it. What do you think?
Well, let's give that a shot. It probably would sound kind of like the Chipmunks, huh?
Only if they play it
Chipmunks
at the
review
wrong speed, like
records.
you always do when you get a 45 12-inch. But
Yeah.
hey, yeah,
Yep.
folks, we're going to kind of delve into that today, and I'm trying not to be negative about this. I really am trying not to be negative, but I'm just starting to go. You know what? Too much, too much. But we'll see. This comes from an announcement by Rush and Mobile Fidelity for a series
I
of
figured
reissues,
that.
which of course is going to kind of hit home for me and create all sorts of FOMO decisions in the next several years.
I'm okay though. I'm doing all right with it. So you're gone. Don't
Oh,
worry.
just wait until there's a Sex Pistols or a they're going to do the Velvet Underground stuff.
Sex Pistols 45 RPM. I wanted to hear the high definition on it.
There we go. Let me get into it. So we'll delve into that discussion here in a little bit. And Steve's got some examples. I've got a couple of things, and I've got a couple of examples where I'm like, I think that this is good as it is, but I've got some specific gripes about the idea of a 45 RPM high fidelity reissue. But we'll get into that here in a bit. Let's start on a happy note, though. No revolutions here about our recent pickups. I've got a few things. They're kind of late shows. I got some yesterday here in the mail and a couple things I want to show off. But how did your week go with pickups?
It wasn't bad. A few came in. So, that way my kids go, "Oh, you got another record, huh?" I go, "Oh, you haven't seen anything, man." So, but we'll begin with the brand new album from Mono, post rock, Snowdrop. And there we go. Look at that inside. For those of you that are just listening, it does have a poster and perfect for framing and putting on the wall, like anybody does that. And what really I think made this one, let me show the vinyl. This is Snowdrop. It's two different colored vinyls. It's a 2 album set here. So one we have kind of a swirly, yellowy, creamy thing. Matches the front cover of this. And then the other is a light blue, swirly blue thing. Really pretty. And what's really neat, Jim, is this is 45 RPM.
Oh, no.
And I chose the 45 RPM version of it. Isn't that something? I said, I can get in 33 RPM cheaper, or I can get this in 45 RPM and pay more. What should I do? And I thought, you know what? I got my rent deposit back from the place that we had been renting for 2 years. So I thought, well, I got all that money. I might as well just buy the 45 RPM version. Uh,
I
this,
have to ask, was that a conscious decision?
yeah, it was actually this
Okay.
time.
All right. There you go.
It's, this is more the collector's edition of it.
Gotcha.
So, and mono lends itself nicely to that 45 because of the symphonics of it. I think, and we'll talk more about that later on. My thoughts with that. So I didn't mind that, but I have gotten into mono late last year, and they've been around forever. I just didn't know about it till a YouTube video pops up, and I go, I'm liking whatever I'm hearing here. And then I find out some of my friends in the vinyl community have loved them for years, and I guess I should pay attention more, maybe.
You should.
But yeah,
My only other
happy to have
question
it.
on that then, if it's 45 RPM, is it also in stereo?
I don't know. I didn't even check. No, I've probably been playing it in mono, not even knowing.
Well, you've been playing mono
Yeah.
in stereo. All right.
All right. Next one is the brand new album, also another new this year from the Beavis Frawn, Horrible Heights. Beavis Frawn, since they've been around since the 80s, or actually Nick Solomon, it's his group. And here's a nice picture. He's the very old guy in it.
Yeah, they've been around for a while.
They've been around, since about mid 80s, the Beavis Frawn. Now, he's had his own solo work, but generally he does as a group. It's just the group changes as he goes. Now, this is not 45 RPM. He just puts out lots of music. Lots of music. It's hard to keep up with the Beavis Frawn catalog. I have quite a bit, but again, not trying to be a completist on it. But I saw he put out a new one, and I thought, man, I really want to get this. Psych rock, harder rock on this, a little alternative. He kind of mixes it up a little bit, but he's best known for his psych rock, his love of Jimi Hendrix, which, I appreciate. I love his sound. His voice is good. It's not for everyone, his voice, but overall, I really like it, and I said, have quite a few of his albums, so happy to pick up his new one. I picked up the one he put out last year, too. I mean, he puts out at least an album a year, if not more. So prolific. Very prolific. Yeah, and at his age, that's pretty good. And the final one, this is the very first album from the Manic Street Preachers. I remember them in the 90s more, when the whole British invasion thing was happening again. I was thinking more as electronic dance, but I'm not sure if that's necessarily where they were at. This definitely has some punk edge to it, a little more alt type rock happening. This came out, what was it, mid 80s. And I was on a live stream with Chris Mann. His channel is The Vinyl Man. And we were talking, and someone brought up Manic Street Preachers. And they asked if I had any of their stuff. And I said, I used to have a CD or two, but never went back at it. And they recommended this one because of my love of punk music. And it's kind of a pinkish, reddish, swirly type vinyl. So I did. I picked this up. And I did enjoy it. It definitely has a more of a punk flavor to it, which was good. They had a really love-hate relationship with the press. I mean, they would say a lot of outrageous things. I don't know, maybe just getting clicks back then. Beats me. But it was fun to get. So the name of the album is Generation Terrorist. I should say that's on the tattoo there. Generation Terrorist. Okay. And again, they're their very first album. So fun pickup to have. And that ought to do it. And that ought to do it for this week.
All right. Some good stuff, and hopefully easy enough to find for the playlist. I had it was going to be a tremendously slim week for me because I've been a little busy here at the store, but I had a shipment show up yesterday. I do orders. There's some customers who come into the store that don't, for whatever reason, want to buy on Discogs themselves. And so they know that I've got a decent account, and I do buys. And so I'll order Discogs items for folks from time to time. And when I do, I usually poke around on the seller's site to see if there's anything to tag into that to kind of maximize the shipping and get more out of it, so to speak. And I did that with an order that came in this week, and I put a couple different things on there and ended up getting about 4 or 5 extras and for the store. And I'm like, well, I might keep some of these. The first one I might keep, and I say might right now. It's a blues album by Bloomfield, Hammond, and Dr. John called Triumvirate. And this
Huh.
one was super cheap on Discogs. You can tell it's not it's not in the best of shape. There's ring wear, writing. There's a seam split up top, and I got listening to it, and it's really good blues music. It's a traditional Columbia from the '70s. I like Mike Bloomfield. I've got a few other albums with it. They have Bloomfield in some way, shape, or form from either Butterfield or his other collaborations. So I like him. Never been a big fan of Dr. John. And as far as Hammond goes, it's John, I think it's John Hammond, John Paul Hammond. Kind of ambivalent.
Yeah.
so, but this is some really good blues. I mean, just straight up blues. It's originally from 1973, so it's still got a little bit of that late 60s, early 70s blues rock flair in there that Bloomfield was actually really well known for. He's the album of his that I really like is where he's with the Super Session with Stills on there as well, which is just a great blues album on its own. So I'm going to give this a couple more listens, and it may go into the store, but it's a little too beat up to go into the store, and so rather than put it in the dollar bin,
I gotta say that is quality ringware. I mean, I've seen good ringware. That is some of the best ringware I've ever seen. That is beautiful, perfect circle.
It's tremendously defined. All right. Now,
Oh my
maybe we could do
God.
an episode exploring how that happens. A little
I mean,
packed, a
it
little tight
frames
on the
them.
shelf.
Yeah, I mean, it just frames them perfectly within there as it's kind of art.
It is.
So I think it's worth more.
Okay. Well, I'll take that into consideration. It's not a valuable album to begin with. The other thing, too, with the marker on the front,
Yeah.
I have had varying degrees of success removing that from album covers, depending upon the type of cardboard that is used and the type of marker. There are ways to get that off of there, and I'm going to try getting that. If I do this, I'll share how I get that done. But I did
All
it
right.
successfully with another album earlier this week and got the marker off of it with hardly any telltale sign. So, secondly, and this surprised me, I apparently am also becoming a Leo Kottke completist, unbeknownst
Oh
to
my.
myself here. I like picking up Leo Kottke stuff when I see it. It's usually not very expensive. This is one called Time Step from Leo Kottke, and this one is from 1983, and it's basically it's acoustic guitar. Kottke's a classical guitarist, but it's got a little folk in there. It's an interesting mix. And this, I like his older stuff. He actually got started in the late 60s with some very classical 12-string guitar work, 6 and 12-string guitar. Most of them are instrumental. The thing that's tremendously interesting on this, and I've got to dig into it a little further, there's a song that leads off on side 2 named Saginaw, Michigan.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's going to be a cover of the old Guthrie, or no, Lefty Frizzell. I'm sorry. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if that's a Lefty Frizzell. So I'll listen to that. I've only listened to side 1 on this, and I'll dig into it a little further. But I have several Leo Kottke albums in my collection. And again,
He came to my college. Yeah, back in the late 70s, he came to our college to perform, and I listened to a Leo Kottke album, and at that time decided I'm not going to go to that at all because I'll just fall asleep. So,
Well, yeah, I can see that, but it's tremendously intricate guitar work. He is virtuoso, if you will.
I had
And
no
finally,
sense of appreciation for that, Jim. I was more
okay,
into, the Cars got a new album out. Awesome.
dig it. Lastly, and kind of blues rockish again, I picked up a copy of Eric Clapton's album Backless, and I think I've had this. Yeah, I have this in my collection. So this I'm going to consider as an upgrade because it is a white label promo. So I can add that
Very
into
nice.
the white label promo collection. I like Clapton stuff. This one was from, I'm trying to think of the original year on this as well, 1978. So it's in that era where he's starting to get a little more rock infused, a little different stylings going in, not straight up blues. Even country on this one, Tulsa Time and Promises. You're getting close to country rock in this case, in this era with Clapton, but it's still a good album. and I enjoy it. And the white label promo is what brought me to bring it in
Mm-hmm.
completely.
Sure.
And that is the Slim Pickens for this week. Not Slim Pickens, but you know what I mean. So, folks, if you want to listen in on some of the music that we talk about here on the podcast each week, you can look for a Spotify playlist. It's in the link to that is in the description of wherever you are watching and or listening to the podcast. Scroll down a little bit when you're done watching and or listening to the podcast. Don't interrupt the flow here. And then you can go and check out
That's
some of the
right.
music that we get
Don't.
to each and every week. It's and those make for some great listening. I'll throw those, especially some of the older playlists that we put together. I'll throw those on when I'm driving or traveling longer distances, and it's just kind of, oh yeah, I remember we talking about that. And, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Steve's got some really weird taste in music, doesn't he? Throw one of these together. And I
Keeping it
usually,
real,
Steve, when I
Jim.
put those together, I try to go chronological in the order in which we talk about them. So
Yeah.
sometimes things don't mix together as well as they should.
No, man. Yeah, mine gets a little eclectic.
It does. It does. So this past week, and I had several folks send me messages and point this out to me. There was an announcement on a lot of the Rush fan pages and through Mobile Fidelity, and this one in particular we'll call up from Ultimate Classic Rock, the website, talking about the recent announcement that Rush has paired up with Mobile Fidelity for an extensive audiophile reissue series beginning later this year and then stretching out over, well, just several years down the line. It's what we could look to for this. UCR talks about this a little bit. It's a fresh reissues rather, of 11 of their classic albums from the 1970s and 80s era, starting later this summer. The news was announced at a Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab, who have partnered with the Canadian rock legends for a multi-year series of releases. The label had previously done some Rush titles in the past. I've got one here to show off on that as well. But this marks the first time that the band's complete Mercury run of studio albums are being reissued as dedicated standalone audiophile editions. And so this is going to kick off with 1975's Fly By Night, then they're going to work back forward and then backwards. I'll get to that in a second. The Rush is a Band blog that I follow, talks a little bit more about this as well. And there's a video on here, Steve, that Rush's A&R man, who happens to be Alex's Envy of None bandmate, the band Envy of None that Alex Lifeson is in, Andy Curran, hand-delivered the master tapes to the Mobile Fidelity Lab for them to begin working with on this. So
Wow.
he actually was there. They're using the tapes now. Whether or not we don't want to get into that again. If there's going to be a digital intermediary anywhere in there, I would imagine that there's going to be in some way, shape, or form. But I haven't not read that far into that on there. So yeah, what they're doing, Steve, and this is from the Mobile Fidelity website. It still says TBD on a few of these, but they're releasing the first Rush album. I do have a couple dates that I'll call up here, but the Mobile Fidelity says to be announced on the dates. The first Rush album without Neil Peart is being made available on a hybrid SACD, the Super Audio Compact Disc, and as a 180 gram 45 RPM double LP set. Then they're doing a SACD again for Farewell to Kings. They're doing one for Fly By Night, as well as Fly By Night. That's the one with the owl, Steve. That's the cool looking cover too.
Yep.
That's getting an original master recording treatment, but it's still going to be split up into a double LP 45. And then a Farewell to Kings is getting a double LP box set. They're doing one of those Ultra Disc one steps on that one as well. So splitting that up into a double LP, but putting it in a box and giving it the Ultra for the extra price tag. Looks like the single LP ones that they're doing, not the single, I'm sorry, the double LP 45s that are the original masters are going to come in at around $60, whereas the box set is going to come in at about $125. The release dates on this, again, Mobile Fidelity says to be announced, but the stuff that I'm seeing from the distributors, it shows that the Farewell to Kings box, 45 PM Ultra one-step limited and numbered set, Wow, that list price says 180 there. Oops, it's up there a little more. That looks like October 16, whereas the Rush Fly By Night and Rush Self-Titled, which are numbered original master recordings coming in, this it said 60, but my price shows 80 something. Those are scheduled for release on September 18. So not quite
Wow.
the summer, late summer, but late summer kicking in there. All right. How do you want me to start this, Steve? As a Rush fan, am I supposed to be thrilled and overjoyed and just
Yes.
shivering with
Yes.
anticipation over
Yeah,
this?
that's right. Definitely a lot of anticipation. Uh, yes, you are going to hear it in new ways that you have never heard it before. This is going to come out, it's going to open your mind and your world, and you're going to go, wow, this is a trip, man. This is the best. And you're going to go out and you're going to buy a $10,000 stereo receiver, just or turntable, maybe just $10,000 turntable, because you really want to get this right. And maybe a $20,000 receiver to go with it, $50,000 speakers, and you are just going to be blown away.
Well,
So I'm
you're
happy
forgetting
for you,
the
Jim. I'm
yeah,
happy.
you're forgetting the tube amps. I got to get that in there too.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, got to get that because they look cool.
you know what, Steve? I'm not certain. Now I can't guarantee this, but I'm sure at some point the FOMO is going to chip away at me, and I probably
Mhm.
will. But I'm not going to do the entire series. I own, as you know, completist there. I own all of the Rush albums. I've got good originals of them. I've got multiple copies of a few of the other ones, including Permanent Waves, which is going to be the number one. Not been announced yet, but I would assume that that's going to be on there if they're doing 11 of the albums coming through.
Yeah.
So that's going to be one. And Permanent Waves, along with, and I believe Moving Pictures has already gotten a mobile fidelity treatment once before. I know for certain Permanent Waves had because I've got one of them right here.
Yeah.
It's the mobile fidelity, and you know what? It's a single LP, Steve. But my
Mhm.
big beef here, and this is aside from getting us to purchase yet another version of albums that we already own. We've talked about this a lot, and there's some bands that we'll do that for, and others that will shrug off. Rush for me is going to be one of those bands that's going to give me pause for the cause and consideration of whether or not I should do that. The early albums, I don't think so much. I've got a couple versions of each of those, so I'm going to be good there. But for me, and I think that we can maybe agree if we bring Pink Floyd into this mix or some of the other bigger prog bands of that era, where the albums themselves, whether they be a concept album or not, have lengthy songs. Okay, Rush, known
Mhm.
2112, 18 plus some odd minutes, takes up the entirety of side one of 2112. And now, in order to make that a 45 RPM, you've got to split it up into a double LP. You can't cram that many grooves onto it. So you've got to split that up. So, as it is with Farewell to Kings, there's a lengthy song in there. When they get to Hemispheres, there's a couple of lengthy ones on there. Moving Pictures, even Permanent Waves have lengthier songs on there, which are going to basically take up one whole side of a 45 RPM. And when you do that, especially if like a song slash side slash album of 2112, you've got to find a natural break in there. And for those of us who, and I think Melinda talked about this too with the Pink Floyd stuff, you get used to hearing
Yeah.
it in a certain way. Now all of a sudden you've got to interrupt that hearing. In this case, you're interrupting a tremendously high fidelity and hopefully great sounding version of it to say, oh, stop, flip, turn it over, get back into it.
Mhm.
And for me, that's the big no go point for me. I don't think that I'm going to cross that line just to have a higher quality version of this to say I want to interrupt what I have known and loved for many decades just to get a
Sure.
little higher quality.
Yeah. Everything I've read, they do say 45 RPM. By far is a higher quality. Your
Yeah.
grooves are spaced out more. You can put so much more in it. But I think first it comes down to your stereo system.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you truly going to notice it? Your cartridge, what kind of cartridge do you have? Is it a high-end cartridge that you can take advantage of this 45 RPM record? And then it's just what are your components? I got a nice stereo system, but I don't know if it's like one that makes a big difference on 45 RPM. Also, age factor. Let's just face it, we don't hear as well. So, are we noticing it as much as other people might be noticing it? It's hard to say. I think to your point, some albums are not. It doesn't really work. I can't think like Dark Side of the Moon going 45. That is put together in a certain way that where you flip that album over is the perfect spot to flip it over. There is that is the section where it should be flipped over.
Yep.
But yeah, otherwise you're breaking up how they connect together.
And and I'm holding up my original master recording of Dark Side, which is a single LP. So, not to mention too that if you're watching The Wizard of Oz, Steve, that throws it off completely. If you've got that broken up into a double LP,
there you go. I got the brand new one that came out.
Yep. Now this is an interesting one, and I've got mine too. I remember when this came out. This is the Dark Side of the Moon 50th anniversary, that big, huge picture disc version of it. They split this up into a double LP, but with good reason. Remember what they did. So it is a double LP, but because of the printing process they used for this ultra clear vinyl, you still get the album as it was intended with one side each on each of those, as it was. It's just that the second side is blank because of the printing process.
Yeah. They did find a way to get more money out of us, so we could still do a 2 LP and suck more out.
They did, and they blamed it on the printing process on this one, but at least that's not a 45 RPM.
Yeah. I think it depends. I think there's just certain albums, for instance, I was reading, one of the forums and that, and, here's my MoFi of Alan Parsons' I, Robot. And so it's 33 RPM. They have reissued this in 45 RPM. Again, iRobot's one of those things that has a continuation. But everything I had read, everyone was just saying that 45 RPM is incredible. It makes such a difference. I could see that with Alan Parsons, though, of course, he did the Pink Floyds. And so this would have the separation, but everyone seemed to be really... It sounded so good. And, it actually had me curious as, gosh, because this is probably my favorite Alan Parsons Project album, I Robot. And, it made me curious about that. But, obviously I got the MoFi. So for years I thought I had the best. Now I find out I don't have the best copy, Jim. Wow. What a gut punch.
So for those that aren't familiar with this, the reason that they do a lot of this, especially with mobile fidelity, it's not a new process. And obviously 45 RPM as a approved RIAA speed has been around for a very long time. And we're coming up on 100 years, over 100 years for 78, if you want to think about it. And we're getting close with a lot of the 33 RPM. But the way that the records are made, the physical grooves cut into the surface, and it has to do with the way that it reads it. If it's a wider groove, it's going to get more fidelity out of it. The faster speed, you're going to get better recreation out of that, less compression, so to speak. You also have groove distortion. They call this IGD, inner groove distortion, as you get toward the end of it. So you're very correct when you say that the equipment matters a great deal for this. Lower end turntables, especially ones that don't have a counterbalance or they're all presets, it's not going to make much of a difference. So you got to kind of take that into consideration. I've got a decent turntable. I've got my Techniques. It's a great turntable for it. But the other end of that is and this as well, you mentioned it, as we get older, our hearing degrades, especially if you're not careful with it. I went to a lot of concerts when I was in my 20s without hearing protection, and I lose some of the frequencies. You lose that naturally anyway. Some of the higher end
You
frequencies
do.
just get lost. And then depending upon how you treat your ears through your life, my father, for example, he could be next to a cricket and not hear it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I just read that Huey Lewis, Huey Lewis in the
yeah.
news can't hear music anymore. He can't hear. He's lost all his hearing with that Meniere's disease that he got. So he spends his time fly fishing, and that's all right by him. But
Well,
it
yeah,
does,
Pete Townsend.
it
Pete
makes a
Townsend was
difference.
another one who had suffered a great deal of hearing loss
Yeah.
from years
Yeah.
and years.
Mm-hmm.
But that's neither here nor there, saying that just because some people can't hear it, some people don't have the best equipment, does not mean that companies like Mobile Fidelity or Analog Productions and the like shouldn't partner with these older bands to put their stuff out in
Yeah.
ultra high fidelity at 45 RPM on double LP, because there are those that want that kind of experience. And
Yes.
I'm not besmirching that at all for those that want to
Mm-hmm.
go there. But for a hardcore fan like me, when it comes down to Rush or even Floyd, I've got these 3 times over in different
Yeah.
forms and different pressings. So I'm not certain that that's going to be enough to lure me in. And I don't know if that would be enough for you, for bands that you love, if they start. And I'm sorry, not if, when they get around to, when
That's
they get
right.
around to doing those.
Well, considering Talking Heads has been putting out those freaking box sets, I've
Yeah.
been sucking those up. It's. I think it depends on the band. I don't know if I would. If Sex Pistols gave out 45, if I would even bother. Really? It doesn't need to be. Uh, I bought this one recently, and it's the Temptations Cloud 9 of Mobile Fidelity. Not really paying attention to what I'm doing, which happens quite often. And I get it. And it's a 45 RPM. Okay. It's a Motown album. A Motown song lasts about 3 minutes because that's what Berry Gordy wanted, right? You got to be fist. So now on this album, it's a 2-album set. And basically, a lot of these you have maybe 2 songs aside. 3 songs on some. I mean, you talk about having to flip it over a lot. Man, do you have to. Now, they're all separated, so it works. It isn't like it has to be this continuous flow going on. That's fine. But, I mean, just side 1 has Cloud 9, and I heard it through the grapevine. Flip it. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh, we got Runaway Child, Running Wild. Next album, please. It's, to me, I'm sure it sounds great. I'm listening to it. It must be great. I don't have an original or even a reprint of this. That's why I thought, oh man, I'll just grab that. But it just seems Motown is maybe it's not the best just because you get 2 songs per side. But for some, that's what they like.
We're making it sound, and there's going to be some folks in the first world problems. I got to get up after 2 songs and flip the record over. But the opposite argument of that is that the idea of that we get a certain level of enjoyment out of listening to the records means that you want to be able to immerse yourself in that process for as long as possible. And again, that's just me. I want to listen to that maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes worth of music on a side. Hopefully more. There's some that have crammed some in there and still sound good, but I want to get that enjoyment without having to worry about, time to get up, flip it over, take care of it, and do it again. And that's just me. Maybe I don't think I'm a lazy person, but at the same token, I want to be able to enjoy it as it was originally intended.
My biggest issue is I forget to put it on 45 RPM. So wah, wah, wah. Then when it's done, I forget to put it back to 33 RPM. So the next one, it's like,
and a lot of that though is going to be on the labels. There was a record store day release several years back from Joan Jett. It was a single LP, and for whatever reason, I think it was just a little short on content. But we sold a few of them through the store, and we had a customer bring one back. They brought it back and said, "This isn't Joan Jett. I don't know what the deal is with this. It's, not really Joan Jett. It's supposed to be a live show. I don't get it." I put it on there, and it definitely was. It sounded like a dude singing. And then I looked, and it was not indicated ahead of time, in very, very, very small print on the label. It said 45 RPM. So I clicked it to 45, and Miraculously, there was Joan Jett singing again, and not some old dude trying to get through there.
Uh-huh.
So the
And,
customer just completely missed that and didn't think to switch it to 45 RPM. But they need to do a better job. Now, I'm not complaining about Mobile Fidelity or analog. They do a good job, say, ahead of time.
mhm.
I think that they've learned maybe over time saying if this is a 45, you better damn well let people know ahead of time so they know that they're buying and they're making a conscious decision to purchase a 45 like you did with the mono.
Yeah, I bought a it was a group I hadn't heard before, new album, and I put it on and I go, okay, that sounds pretty good, and then I go, but just not quite right. So I put it on to 45. Okay, well that sounds all. I couldn't determine if it was supposed to be 33 or 45 RPM. I had zero idea because I've never listened to these guys or anything. And, I just go, what the hell? And so I showed it on my Sunday show and I played it at 33 and 45. Says, you guys tell me what you think.
Which
It was
sounds
45.
better. Then
So,
you've
yeah.
got, and there, this is not an old thing either. I'm pretty sure. I want to say it was Moby Grape, and I'll get corrected in the comments if I was wrong. Moby Grape, no, I don't think it was Iron Butterfly, where they actually put a 78 RPM song at the end of a 33 and a third side. So you had to physically. Now most turntables now won't even go to 78 RPM. That's the
No.
much older. Which I guess, you know what, maybe we should talk to these labels and say if you really are concerned with audiophile quality, instead of a double LP at 45 RPM, why don't you make it a quadruple LP set at 78 and one song per side? Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that now. Or shouldn't we give them the ideas on that?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, just something new and different that we can collect. I there are certain things that I really like at 45 RPM. One of them is jazz. Miles
Okay.
Davis, his 45 RPMs, it's fine. Again, there's a cutoff point for each song. Generally speaking, they don't go forever unless it's a live album. I think a live album's harder to do. Or a Bitches Brew. Bitches Brew would be tough because you got 17-minute songs on there. You don't really want that cut off. They can cut it off in a quiet part or whatever. But here's Miles Davis, ESP 45 RPM, Neferte 45 RPM, and I think these sound great. I really, really like them. And so certain jazz out, again, Miles Davis fan. So I want to try to get my best listening experience I can off of that. Now, I don't know how much of a difference it makes. I've never done where I put on a 35 versus a 45 and I try to decide this is the best sounding, because quite honestly, I'll probably just look at it and go, I don't know. Like, I should probably have someone else do it with my back, and so I can't tell and see. That might be the way to do it. I can bring my grandson down here. That ought to be a hell of a
There you
good
go.
time.
It's like a blind taste test.
Yes, exactly. Oh man, but it was there's Bitches Brew there. I would struggle to hear this one at 45 because the songs are so long. The other one would be like when it comes to classical music. Now, this is Beethoven's Sixth Symphony by Bruno Walters, which is they consider it the very best recording done of that symphony. Now, it's an analog productions. It's at 33 RPM. To do classical at 45, again, those pieces go a long time. To break that up, would it make sense? I don't know how much classical is done at 45, quite honestly, Jim. We're not out there buying a lot. I buy some, but I'm happy when they do these 33 because it's the mixing and the mastering, right?
Yep.
If you can have it 45 RPM, but if they don't mix and master it right, big whoop-de-doo. You're just paying, but you're not getting what you need. A 33 RPM, if you have that right mixer master, which there are like 2 or 3 of them out there that they put their name on an album, everyone buys them.
Yep.
This is Bernie Grundman. It's got to be the best. I got to get that. I don't know if it is or not, man, but just that name does. Put Steve Carlson on it, probably. Huh? What? No, I don't think so. So, but But classical, I think at times could be more difficult because maybe some do lend itself to it. Hard to say.
Well, and going back to the Rush collection that they're getting through here, again, they're going to do 11 albums. And like I said, I assume that they're going to get to Permanent Waves at some time over the next couple of years. This is my favorite Rush album, as those of you who've been listening to us for a while know by now, over and over and over again. It's great, Steve. But this is the I have to try and remember the year that they did this. Looks like 2007 Mobile Fidelity version of this. And at the time, they had the technology to master this onto a single LP and still get the mobile fidelity, and it probably because they went right from the original master recording straight through on there. But they did fit this onto a single LP, and I think this thing sounds absolutely fantastic. And again, I'm comparing it to copies of Permanent Waves that I've had in my collection since the 80s that have maybe taken a little bit more abuse from different stylists over the years, where this one was still nice and clean and sounding great. But again, they fit this onto a single LP before. And so now, if, and this is an if, I don't know for certain if they're going to do that, but if they're following suit with the rest of the ones that they've already announced, it's going to be a double LP. They're going to split that up again. That is going to be just to get that extra little bit of mileage out of the audiophile nature for folks that want to appreciate it at that level.
Mm-hmm. I was, as preparing for this, I'm looking at my records and trying to, okay, what do I have to show? Which again, I had a hard time. What do I have in 45 RPM? I know I have them because I get them in sometimes on purpose, sometimes not a clue, but they come in. But I was looking at, so like here, these UHQRs.
Yep.
They're at 33 RPM. People will say they're the best sounding stuff ever in the whole wide world. This is the Aqualung Analog Productions UHQR. Would a 45 RPM be even better? I mean, this costs a lot. This costs as much as those 45 RPMs are coming out as far as Rush goes. But it's, the mastering and mixing was supposed to be the very best ever done. Would a 45 beat it? Supposedly, with the way the grooves are, I guess maybe, but how expensive would that run? I don't know. And I have that in other examples. I might look at my UHQRs I have, or even these, Miles Davis, comes up with, master. It's a box set master recording. Well, this one is 45 RPM, so I got a 45 RPM Miles Davis, but I have the UHQR Miles Davis kind of blue, I've never done a comparison. You're going to say those are both sealed. Yeah, you're right. They are. That's why. But I have like 6, 7 copies of the freaking thing. It's a collector issue. So,
have you had any experience with the SACD side of things? If we're talking on the digital side,
in my previous collection, I did have some of them mobile. I would go in. This is before really vinyl began taking off, and I would see those, and I would buy some of them. As far as I don't remember, I can't ever remember saying, "Oh my God, this is incredible." Again, it could come down to equipment.
Yep.
My CD player wasn't anything like phenomenally fantastic. I bought it in the late 80s. So,
well, with the SACDs, and again, it's going to sound really bad from a record store guy, but I want to stress I'm a record store guy, and I'm a record store guy who has never owned a separate component compact disc player in my life. I maybe purchased fewer than a dozen CDs in my life. So I've been vinyl, and I have had CDs, and I would play them through an optical drive on a computer primarily, or in a vehicle that was equipped with a CD player. But with the SACDs, it's my understanding you need a specific player to decode those.
As far as I know, you didn't have to. If you did, I mean, it played off my my CD player. So maybe to get the ultimate sounding experience, you do need one. That could be it. That did play off my normal.
I saw a video oh, geez, a few days ago, rolled past my YouTube feed, and I meant to send it to you, and I think I will. This might be a future discussion where there are separate CD component players that does not automatically transcribe internally to an analog signal to push out to speakers or headphones like normal CD players would. It's more of a digital reader of a CD that gives you a pure sound. And I was going to explore that a little bit further before mentioning it, but now it's too late because I just mentioned it to you. I'll send you that link, but that's something that's worth considering. It's like having a separate preamp for a turntable that's not built into a receiver or internally in a turntable, but something along those nature where you can take the CD and run it through something that is more pure to its original digital sound. And I think that would be something where these SACDs might really come into play. And especially this is the other component to this, Steve, is that when you begin reissuing these albums that a lot of us have, and you're trying to lure in people who own them to buy multiple copies, i.e. the rush reissues, you also should not discount the fact that there are new people out there getting into this. And they're going to look at this as a price point, with those box sets being in the $100+ range, 150, 180, or whatever they're going to list out as for the bigger UHQR one-step process ones, which cost much more to make. The price point then, when you compare that to the SACDs coming in at $40, $50, is going to give a lot of folks cause for the pause. Also, I would like to think you're looking at what is supposedly going to be equal quality, let me put it that way, equal quality of the audio file coming through, whether it be, the analog side on the vinyl or the digital on the CD. Just the only big difference being that the perception of warmth that you get from the vinyl that you would not get on the CD side of things. But at that level with the SACDs, that is more pure to the sound, I would imagine. Again, I'm speaking just kind of out here, not having ever owned an SACD or an SACD player, or really delving into them too much.
Yeah. Well, your point on price, I had something trying to, on pricing and, getting people kind of sweating it. So, well, this one here. So this was the 40, again, Mobile Fidelity, Miles Davis, 45 RPM. Okay. This is copy number 18,480. 18,000. So it's at 45 RPM, which is why we keep seeing this kind of happening. People are shelling out the bucks to get it. Yep. Obviously, I'm holding one. If it's a certain group or whatever they want. Now that's 18,000. It's kind of blue. Okay, I get that, but wow. And we see more of this happening. Look at, Mobile Fidelity was kind of quiet for a while. They're suddenly pulling in these big groups. The Van Halen things coming out. Yep. Obviously, it's selling really, really well. And so they're going, where are our rabid fans at, man? We're the ones that are just kind of crazy. Oh, them Rush people. Holy crap. Have you seen them? Oh, yeah. They wear the T-shirts and everything all the time.
Well, they're shelling out $400 or $500 for tickets right now, and what's $125 on a box set?
Exactly right, Jim. Exactly right. And so it is, then they come back from that concert after that experience. God, I got to get the best sounding thing I can possibly get. It continues to sell even at these incredible price points. An entry-level person, not going to jump at it. But there are so many other people collecting out there now that they want that experience, and they're willing to do this. 18,000 miles, dude, Lord knows what they've sold now. I don't know, But that's a lot. And you can see how Mobile Fidelity is going at this now more aggressively, pulling in the stuff. It's a market, and again, you make hay while the sun shines.
Yep. I guess another way to look at this, and maybe it's just because I haven't had lunch yet and I'm hungry, but if you were to go to a chain restaurant and order a Sizzler steak, you're going to get a steak. But if you were to go to a high-end steakhouse and get a prime rib or a filet or something like that, what's the price difference going to be between that Sizzler and that super high end? I think the most I've ever paid, I went to a Vince Lombardi steakhouse in Wisconsin,
Mhm.
but you're paying $70, $80 for a steak at that point, and
You're
you
getting
get
a
to enjoy it.
45
Yeah,
RPM steak.
yeah, there we go. You space out the sinew a little. No, I don't know how you work that. I mean, I understand the technology and I understand the reasoning for it, and I understand the desire for listeners and fans and super fans to have that absolute ultimate listening experience for an album that they hold true and dear to their hearts.
Mhm.
That's what I've got here. So I don't know. Will I be able to resist the FOMO on the Rush? I think for the most part, yes. Until I see what they end up doing with Permanent Waves or maybe Moving Pictures or 2112. When they get to those, we'll
Yeah.
see how, and we'll still be doing this, I would imagine. So we'll see how well I hold up, Steve.
I think you'll buy one just to see, do you notice a difference or not? If you
I
do
will.
notice a difference, you're going to be hooked. And if you don't notice a difference, no big deal.
Let's hope my ears hold out till then too. So we'll see what goes. But yeah, this is a
Well, if it
multi-year.
comes after your Rush concert, I can't promise you that, Jim. You know,
I
you
should
may
mention
lose them
too.
at
Yeah,
the
I'm
Rush
one of those
concert.
people that shelled out big bucks for a Rush concert. Well, that's not till October, and it's a long way off. Well, hopefully they'll make it. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there. But I mean, I'm excited for them, and I'm happy that they're doing it. Rush still has they still own their catalog, so they're involved with this. The folks around them, like the guy that was delivering from Envy of None, delivering those master tapes, shows that the band, that Alex and Getty are still involved in that level. Whereas you get to these other folks that have sold their catalogs off that no longer have the control over whatever the label decides to do with it.
Hmm.
That's kind of where the break point is. But I don't know. Again, I didn't want to turn this into a gripe session because I understand the desire for the best quality, and I'm not gonna be coming down on anybody that wants to do that and wants that experience. I'm just not certain if that's for me at this point.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think as when you look as record collecting as a whole, there definitely is a market that keeps increasing for that, and it's with a lot of younger people. I just one of my son's friends was over the other day, and we are talking records. He does. I'm thinking about getting a turntable, and I know this guy could afford the top of the line or whatever. He goes, yeah, I'm thinking about getting into albums and stuff like that. And asking, what kind of turntable and all that should I buy? I go, I'm probably not your number one guy on that, but I could see him going for these 45 RPM albums.
Hmm.
Because he can, and he's going to want the best. And there's another one of my son's friends, which my son doesn't listen to albums, but his friends all do. Figure that one out. But I know his other friend buys. I want the best. I want the best. They can afford it. That's what they're going after.
Well, I hope though that they do enough of the research, and I try to help folks that come into the store here. We carry just the Audio Technica line of turntables. That's what I have for the store through our distributors. But I try to talk to folks that are thinking about getting into it about what it is they want to get out of the turntable. And
Mm-hmm.
again, I have lots of people that come in looking at big records, higher end records, and casual conversation. Well, what do you have? Well, I've got one of those little suitcase models. I'm like, hold up
Yeah.
here. You absolutely, that's that $60-$70 fillet steak. You're eating it with a spork, a plastic spork
Yeah.
at that point. So you got to be kind of careful what you do. And this comes back, like you said, if you're going to invest in it, invest in the equipment that takes you to the level that you want to enjoy this stuff at.
Agreed. Yep, very much so. For each his own. But
Indeed.
yeah, as long as people keep buying it, they're going to keep coming.
There we go. Well, what do you folks think? I mean, am I kind of just being a grumpy old fart for no reason here and say, you know what, just be the Rush fan and embrace the Hi-Fidelity and 45 RPM double LP. Go ahead, cut hemispheres in half and make
It's
you get up and
okay.
turn it over.
Yep.
I don't know.
I hire someone just to come in and turn the records over. That's my goal in life is I will hire someone that will just Can you flip the album now, please?
Or let's take these $150 ultra hi-fi records and let's design a new turntable for them that has a longer spindle that will drop multiple. Let's go back to that old style of drop and spin.
Exactly.
I get those coming into the store. Records come into the store. I can tell when they've been on one of those old consoles that had the drop, and it's like, oof, that's so bad. Okay, folks. Well, again, let us know what you think. Is this something that you are all in for? Are you more of a purist when it comes to the way that the audio and the album was supposed to be envisioned originally, or do you want to get up and turn it over for the sake of getting a little bit of more, not in some cases, a lot more high fidelity out of it? Let us know in the comments. As always, we appreciate hearing from you on that token. So, all right, Steve. So I'll be on the lookout. And when they announce that Sex Pistols 45 RPM double LP with the expanded grooves that each side lasts 8 minutes, I'll let you know.
That will be perfect. And if you get some more Motown in, let me know that too. So that would be good. And
well, you folks have been listening and watching two guys talking about records, the Vinyl Community Podcast, and we do appreciate you guys coming in each and every week. If you're listening to us on Spotify, iHeart, Apple, Amazon, or through the BLEAVE Podcast Network, please do us a favor and leave that little comment or do a recommendation or share. That helps us out with those folks as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, always appreciated the shares and comments and likes and things of that nature too, because that does help get the word out for what we do. And what we do is like to talk each week about records. And if you want to listen, cool.
Yes. And Jim, good luck today on your concert. Question mark in the Mysterians concert today.
Yep. Should as be of excellent. The recording of this, I'm getting ready to head over there. Store is closed, and I'll share the experience next week with you. How's that sound?
Excellent. Well, yeah.
And
say hi to Bobby.
Talking with Bobby last week was great. He is such a great individual. I love that conversation we had. So that's cool.
Yeah, that was. I just listened to it again. It's like, God, this is great. Fantastic.
Well, I'll give you a full update next week, Steve. Maybe some pictures as well. So we'll see what we do. So until then, folks, my name's Jim, and I own a record store.
I'm Steve, a record collector.
Thanks, Steve. Have a great week, everybody.
45 RPM.
There we go. Speed it up.
Bye, everyone.